Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for February 4th, 2020, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern. There's a lot of things that we are that are thrown at us at certain times. And a lot of the times we carry things that can cause that upheaval, so to speak. And, you know, a lot of people that I've talked with through the years, there's always there's a keeping that they hold on to, and the keeping is they have a very difficult time in forgiving, self-forgiveness. Excuse me. And in self-forgiveness, you actually heal your life. And your actual self is not a separate and lonely part of the world, but the real you is the world itself. And everything that there is expressing itself as this particular organism here and now, we are all peaks on the same sow and rays from the same sun. That's Alan Watts. To forgive is the highest, most beautiful form of love. And in return, you will receive untold peace and happiness. Robert Mueller. And there is only one species of forgiveness, self-forgiveness, Noel McGinnis. And a lot of times I've talked about the fact that we have the baggage room, the subconscious, where we keep all of our past memories and experiences. And the majority of the time, we relive those over and over and over and over again. And it seems that one of the most challenging things for us is self-forgiveness and forgiving ourselves. And the only way you can do that is that you face the very things through your heart mind that have been, the better choice, whatever the choice of words, plaguing you throughout your life. And we're reminded of that when we interact with others and how we respond to certain things. And if we haven't forgiven ourselves, and I mean truly forgiven yourself, so in other words, when you forgive yourself, you don't have a revisitation of the things that burden you emotionally, that you've accumulated throughout your life. It's a ongoing challenge for many of us because we think we have forgiven, but in reality we haven't, because it keeps surfacing. And it surfaces in many ways, and it comes out in many ways. But in the long run, it's up to us to determine, not anybody else, but it's up to us to go deep within ourselves and to have this self-forgiveness. And, some of the things that we can do is make a list, make a self-forgiveness list. Write down everything that you did in the past that your heart still feels heavy about or is still holding on to. Include everything you can think of. Make it extensive and exhaustive list. Include any judgments from others that you have taken on and feel heavy even thinking about. In other words, people that have, parents, siblings, relatives, friends that have, made different statements toward you that you have, that left an indelible indentation in you that you've carried for a very long time. And you feel heavy even thinking about. And if you're feeling someone's judgment of you, then you are letting in judgmental negative energy. If you're feeling someone's judgment of you, then you are letting in judgmental negative energy. And it's always an opportunity to forgive yourself for doing so. And just write down anything that makes your heart heavy in any way. And talk with yourself. Have an inner dialogue with your wounded self. Because in reality, guys, a lot of us are wounded. We are wounded. And a lot of us take a lot of that with us throughout life. And it can sour things, and it can, disfigure things, and how we view things, and how we respond to things, and how we look at things. You begin to talk with yourself. You have your list. You take the first item on your list. Imagine you are meeting with that wounded part in a special healing room. And picture this old wounded you that's sitting right across from you. And then ask what they would most like to heal. And let your wounded self respond. So in other words, you're having a communication with yourself. And you say, well, you're talking to a wounded part of you. And you say to your wounded part, how can we help? How can you be helped to basically forgive yourself? How can you be helped to heal? And you continue communicating with this part of yourself until it has released all of the negativity that you have held for years. And then you continue listening until it feels complete. And then you let this wounded self, this one wounded self part of you, know that it is loved deeply and has always been loved. And allow the energy from the healing room to suffuse the cells of this old part of you. And support this part by remaining curious about why it acted the way it did. And then forgive your wounded self by saying something out loud like, I forgive you completely for everything that you did. I understand why you did it and realize that you just didn't have the wisdom I do now. I will always love you. Once you experience this communication, you will naturally feel differently about this past event. And then just go through each item on your forgiveness list until you have freed every part from the burden it was carrying. You get creative when you have these, and it takes courage, in oneself to be in self-forgiveness and to sit in ease without discomfort. And also, it's very important to practice forgiving others. I've had conversations through the years with people, and I said, where people have been just really raked through the coals growing up as children. One instance where I had a man who grew up with a father who would come home. He would be in bed, and the father would come home and then, for no reason, would come into his room, drag him out of bed, beat him, throw him in a closet, and lock him in there. And then he would open the closet door, and so the child would go back to bed, and then the father would come back in, drag him out of bed, beat him, and throw him back in the closet. And he carried that with him for a very long time. And it caused a lot of friction with others, fears, angry, and it made a lot of things difficult for him. And, self-forgiveness, practicing forgiving others, self-forgiveness comes naturally into your heart. It is a natural state of being. And the more accepting you are with others, as you make peace with other people's issues, the energies of the compassion and the empathy grow within you and for yourself. You see, so when you practice forgiving others, and this is all through your life, a lot of us choose not to do that. We choose, we don't face it. We don't go into self-forgiveness deep within our hearts, and so we carry it until we leave the body. And a lot of the spirits or the gods that I've talked with through the years that have left the body, they all have similar concerns that they spend so much time worrying, stressing, and fearing. They spend so much time in anger and self-ridicule of themselves because of how they were treated or what they experienced in life. And they all said, I didn't enjoy my life as much as I wanted to. I didn't have as much fun as I wanted to. I wasn't as free as I wanted to be. I constantly, I would bring things from my past into my future, and then I would relive those things again and again. And so most of it was the fact that they took life too seriously, that they weren't, frolicking and having more fun and happy and lighter, and they didn't look at things so constrictively. So when you go into self-forgiveness, you go through your list and you go through your inner dialogue with the different parts of you that are wounded, and you help heal. You heal yourself. And then what happens is that you practice forgiving others. And the very root of a lot of our causes are from our interactions and experiences with others, whether it be parents as we were growing up, it could be with anything. And so as we forgive others, it affects us deeply, and empathy grows within ourselves. And those around us who are still carrying burdens from the past will feel lighter in your presence each time they see you. And they will remember your level of acceptance and forgiveness, which again allows you to feel lighter about you. And so when you begin to practice forgiving those closest to you, you'll find you are creating a more peaceful world everywhere you go. And in a very short period of time, all you'll see is a world filled with lightness. And our capacity to make peace with another being and with the world depends very much on our capacity to make peace with ourselves. And when I'm talking about peace, we're talking about active peace, not ignoring peace. And that was Thich Nhat Hanh. So self-forgiveness, not only for ourselves, but for others. And the more we forgive, the lighter we become. It's always been that way. The more we forgive of ourselves and others, the lighter we become. But when you come across people, and it doesn't take much to get them irritated or stressful. It spreads. It spreads to you. It spreads to others. Perspectives and attitudes and how you're feeling at the time about certain things. And this causes us to become more bitter and bitter. I don't know if you've ever, probably all of us have at one time or another, where you've interacted with somebody who is filled with a negativity, a friction with issues that they have experienced in their life. And we can't help have it blend over, spill over into other things. It's just the way we're built. It's the way we're put together. And I've come across people who just will not budge. They will not. They won't become softer. They won't become easier, lighter, because it's very difficult for a lot of us with the ego mind. When we think, we have the heart mind. I'm working with the heart mind, but you can always tell when someone's coming from the ego mind. It's their demeanor. It is what their energy and their frequencies are. See, I know a lot of you don't even need to have really conversation with others because you literally feel their frequency and their energies. And and sometimes it's heavy and it's deep and it's low, and you don't really need to say anything because you feel it. And it isn't our place to try to, how do you put it, interrupt another's frequency on who and what they are and how they feel about themselves. So all we can do is send lightness, transmit high frequencies, and compassion, empathy for others, first with ourselves and then with others. And until we can heal ourselves, until we understand who and what we are, we will have these challenges for ourselves. And a lot of us choose to ignore them, and they stay there. They don't go away. They just keep showing up at different times, shapes, and forms, depending on how when we travel through this life and what we experience and what ignites those. They're all sitting there waiting to be ignited. And it could be anything that ignites them. And then it's like a snowball down a hill effect. It just becomes more and more and more, and it builds and builds and builds. We get into all kinds of emotions and feelings because we carry these things. And we carry them all throughout this life. A lot of times we think, oh, well, it's done. It's over. I've decided to get rid of that and be done with it. And then it surfaces again down the road. So when we practice self-forgiveness, and it becomes natural into our heart, then the more accepting we are with others. The more we roll, say, the more we flow. And the less obstructive we become. We become less and less obstructive. And we just flow. When I talk about going with the flow, most of the time, it is a challenge for some of us to go with the flow, because there are disruptions and there are frequencies that come in that cause it becomes difficult for us. And this is where we practice letting go and surrendering, and all of this comes together with self-forgiveness, with any wounded part of ourselves. And this is when I've talked in the past about when we love everything about ourselves. And I all of the experiences I've had with people is very few are able to forgive and love everything about themselves. It's very difficult for some people. And they're the ones that determine and make the decision for themselves to be free. And in order for you to be free in a much lighter way, it involves you, all of us, going deep within, which is part of our journey, in forgiving ourselves. Every aspect, every part of us, and taking each one, setting it aside, and having a conversation with it, a dialogue with it. You'd be surprised how empowering that is. Now, if you do it from the ego mind, it might have a little bit of effect, but if you do it genuinely from the heart mind, you have nothing to prove to yourself. You really don't. We don't have anything to prove to ourselves. We're already perfection. So it is about these wounds that we accumulate through this life. And then what happens is that if we can't forgive ourselves, how can we forgive others? It's very difficult. And this is why it becomes friction between people, and between groups of people, between situations. And you learn, it's actually a positive thing, because you then learn more about yourself, and you learn more about other people. And you begin to understand that the most important thing in this life is your own happiness. That is it. It is the most important thing in this life, is your happiness, your joy, your bliss. And that's what we work with on our journey within, to determine how we can come full circle with that. and to just let go. And let go of our self-persecution, our critical attitude towards ourselves on things, our roughness and non-gentleness, our irritability, all of these things. And when we talk about going with the flow, and we talk about self-forgiveness, these are things that it's like house cleaning, where we get rid of certain things and then that aren't really doing anything for us. Anything that weighs you down, anything that causes you distress, anything that causes you sleepless nights or worries, you self-forgiveness. You go into a dialogue with that wounded part of yourself, and then you have a conversation, and you heal it. And it vaporizes, it disappears. This is why it's so dangerous for us to go into the past and reminisce and talk about, what we did 20 years ago, 50 years ago. And the subconscious mind will throw it right up in front of consciousness. It'll just throw it in there. And then the ego mind kicks in because it keeps you there, because you keep reminiscing and going over and going over and going over. Well, I remember this and I remember that. And if you're around others that do that, it affects you, because then you begin to do it. You begin to go into the past and reminisce. You see how it works? That frequency spreads. And so we literally begin to relive, not just the good parts, but all the negative parts that we've stored in our subconscious mind. The root of everything for us is to literally practice self-forgiveness with ourselves and everyone around us. And I know that's not really a simple, easy thing. It is simple in a way, but it's not easy, because we're confronted with these wounds that we have acquired in this life, and a lot of the times we just kind of drag them with us, and every now and then they surface. They come out, and when they come out, they cause others to bring it irritates others. It discombobulates things, because you're an all-powerful being. And don't think that it doesn't. It does. It's not so much the verbal, it's the frequency that you pick up. And a lot of people are cognizant to that, and they do pick up that frequency, that energy, way before conversation is engaged. And it isn't, it's like when you taste something that's so bad that it makes you want to upchuck. That's kind of the feeling that, at least I come across when I literally pick up these frequencies. And there is really no argument or debate for any of us to argue the issue, the challenge that we have with ourselves. One of them is to heal our wounds that we have acquired through this life. It is literally to heal them. The only way we can do that is have an inner dialogue with them, and literally sit down with them. It may sound strange, and then it moves you into self-forgiveness. And then self-forgiveness comes naturally more and more into your heart, the more accepting you are with others. And when you are not that way, everything becomes clouded. And when you are not tranquil and benevolent in your own, within yourself, how can you be that way with others and other people's issues? So it always starts with us. It's always been that way. And, I think a lot of us know that, but we just, it's kind of like, well, I'll deal with that later. I'll address that later. I'll handle that later. And we end up getting pulled in different directions, and we never really do handle it. We never really do diminish it, eliminate it through our inner communication with our wounded parts. So self-forgiveness for ourselves first and others, it always starts with you. It always has been with you. It isn't about anybody else around you. It is about you. People who have confidence through the heart-mind are sometimes looked upon as arrogant, egotistical, and they're read wrong, because the confidence that they carry within their heart, mind, is that they know themselves, and they love themselves, and they have forgiven themselves. That's it. And this is an aspect that we see of ourselves, since we're all connected, and we're all part of each other, and it makes others angry. They get irritated and frustrated. How could you say that? And why did you say that? And why are you reacting this way? These things, it's because they become more frustrated by seeing parts of themselves in each and every one of us when we come into that interaction. So moving into a inner joy, an inner active peace, a bliss, and self-forgiveness, and healing your wounds that you've acquired through this life, you'll be amazed at when things appear or generate with you and with others are totally different. You don't fight it. You just roll with it. You just relax. And you look at it as an opportunity to learn more and experience more. So this meditation is self-forgiveness. And the first thing we want to do is go to a place where we're not going to be interrupted. And I'm sure we all are. And the first thing we want to do is relax our bodies. See, the bodies tell us a lot of things, but we just kind of run roughshod over them. You know, a lot of the times we'll ignore certain things the body's trying to tell us, and we just kind of fluff it off. And we just kind of, just like we do with a lot of things with ourselves, we just kind of bury it. We push it under the carpet or shove it into a room and shut the door. And relaxing the body on a daily basis is very important for our overall well-being inside and outside. So we converse with the body. How are you doing? You know, let's relax. Let's relax together. Let's let go of all of the negativities, of all of the irritations that we have accumulated, and just surrender to all of it. Let it go, as if it doesn't have any meaning, that it's just let go of. Unless you are in complete joy with whatever it is you're carrying, why carry it? There's no reason at all. You can argue with yourself and your ego mind, but there really isn't any reason to carry it. So you surrender it. The body relaxes and responds, says, thank you. I appreciate you noticing me, and I'm grateful that you do. And then you say, I'm grateful for you, body, for carrying me around, so I can enjoy this physical existence. So the body relaxes. It's only up to us. No one else can relax you, really, truly can relax you from deep within, except you. So as you relax the body, you want to move into the now. And the now is all we have and will ever have, the now. Not the past, not the future, but the now. Because everything happens in the now, the past, the present, the future. You ever caught yourself wandering off in the past for no reason whatsoever? Embracing things? Have you ever done that? I think we all have. Or wandering off into the future, trying to figure out what kind of future you would like. And all along, we're ignoring the now. We're in the past, we're in the future, but we ignore the now. And the now is what creates the future. Yeah, interesting. So that's why a lot of us will go in the past, open the subconscious door to the subconscious room, roll our luggage out, and carry it into our future, and we literally recreate our past and our future. So we end up finding ourselves experiencing similar things, doing similar things, and not really being cognizant or clear or conscious of it. So this is it's so enlightening and wonderful to be in the now, and in this very now creating our futures, and the past is the past. There's nothing we really, have to motivate us to go in the past and relive things. We already relived them. We've already been there. We've already experienced them. We aren't going to experience any more than we did. So we just continually move forward. And as we've relaxed the body and we move into the now, we want to breathe. And we breath in through our noses, and we breath out through our mouth. We take in a real nice, healthy inhale through the nose, and we hold it for a brief period of time, 3 seconds, and that vibrational frequency is held with the words, I am love, I am light, I am. I am love, I am light, I am. I am light, I am love, I am. And then we do a nice exhale out the mouth, breath out. And while I'm talking, I want to do this at least 6 times. Now, when we breath in, we're breathing in divine positive energy. This comes from the collective consciousness of all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Because everything is connected. Everything is part of the one, part of source creation. And it delivers communication constantly to us. It goes through the God within us and into the heart mind. Never goes through the ego mind. It goes through the heart mind, and then it's a vibrational frequency. It's a feeling, a sense that we receive. It's a knowing. And it is a constant forgiving yourself and self-forgiveness. It reminds us that it is okay to have wounds. And it is okay to forgive yourself of these wounds. And it is okay that the more self-forgiveness that you practice forgiving others, the self-forgiveness that comes to you into your heart, the more accepting you then become with others. So self-forgiveness is very freeing. And what it means is forgive is permanent. It's not temporary. It's a permanent thing. So you practice permanency. So you'll know that when you're in a lighter, higher frequency and you practice forgiving yourself, you then begin to lighten your heart load. And the self-forgiveness becomes something that is uplifting, enlightening, releasing, surrendering. And it's permanent. And here, when you forgive like this, when you have self-forgiveness, you choose to practice it within yourself and others. What happens is that you'll find that you will not visit the past. It will become less and less for you to be drawn into the past, to relive sensitive times, situations, emotional, irritating, hurtful, whatever they may be. You'll find that as you go into self-forgiveness, you heal your wounded self. You'll find that you're lighter, and you don't feel like you have to go into the past and visit those things. Carry them with you. And you no longer carry it. And the burden is lifted. And you have freed every part from that burden that you've been carrying. Now, when we breath out, we always have that, and we know it's not necessarily negative, but we always have that argument with ourselves, the ego mind, and the subconscious mind. Well, you need this. You got to go back to it and visit it and everything. You got to remember your pain and remember all of your experiences and remember how much you were hurt and how much you were disrupted as you went along in life. And that's an argument. And believe it or not, sometimes we succumb to that argument and we fold right back into it. Okay? We may go to therapists, we may go to psychologists, psychiatrists, and all kinds of people, and looking for external release, external authority to tell us what we should do. Instead of knowing ourselves and saying the only way this is going to be released is that I am the one to release it, because I am the one carrying it. And our breath is so paramount. The breath will help us focus on many things. It'll help us focus on the now. You ever notice when you're focusing on the now and you're focusing on your breath, all the other stuff seems to fade out. You're just in that moment, in the now, whatever it may be you're doing. And it's so important that we understand the power of our breath. This all goes together. Relaxing the body, releasing self-forgiveness for yourself and others, moving in more fluidity, softness, and gentleness, kindness with yourself first. You're the most important. Remember, each of us are the most important thing to ourselves. See, when we are complete, then we're able to literally spread that light and that love and that ease and that simplicity around us to others. It affects others. But when we're in turmoil and conflict, it's very difficult for us to associate or for any length of period of time to be in harmony with others. So we work from the heart-mind. And we also are journeying into the kingdom of God within us. And as we do this, we have others. And don't think that our civilization is the only civilization that faces these challenges within ourselves. There are many civilizations that face the same challenges. And so we have the archangels, the cherubim, the seraphim, the archetypes. And they're everywhere. And they vibrate at a different frequency than we do. And that's why we just don't see them like we see each other. We see them at times. Sometimes they come in humanoid form. Other times we smell the aroma, the scent, a feeling, an energy, a knowing. And they've been with us since the beginning. There's trillions of them. And, 10, 15, 20,000 can surround one of us and take up very little space. And so as we embrace them and they us, they're vibrating at a very high frequency of deep eternal love, from deep eternal love, and in the deepest of gratitudes. And same with ascended masters, Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Sananda Jesus, El Moria, Abundantia, Pel, Thoth, and many, many, many more. They've ascended out of their physical form and are God form, source creation form, the light, the spirit. And we are gods that have ascended into bodies to experience, just like they've experienced. We're experiencing. everything's experiencing. And they too vibrate at a very high frequency of the highest, deepest, eternal love from the highest, deepest, eternal love. And the highest or deepest gratitudes. So we all together, arm in arm, hand in hand, we form a circle of light, a halo around this planet Earth, Gaia, around its equator, and we immediately encase it above, below, on, and in. And we encase ourselves in a perfect gossamer field of high frequency energy. And it protects us, it embraces us, it flows through us, around us. And it is super powerful. And parts of it are made up and reflecting lights of different colors and forms of the emerald green flaming healing light of Archangel Raphael to remind us of our healing power. The purple transmuting flame to remind us of the power of taking a negative frequency, transmuting it into neutralite substance, and basically sending it off for repurposing to source creation. The violet, blue, purple flaming light of Archangel Michael to remind us that we are powerful, that we are very strong, and our resolve is centered. We have the white fire, which is our shielding, which is the highest of highest deep eternal love frequencies. And at that high frequency, no low frequency, no lower survival matter frequencies or dark matter frequencies can maintain their form or their imaging around that frequency. And they must either vaporize or fall away. The violet ray, so we can cleanse the area where we transmuted the lower dark frequencies into neutralite substance and then sent them on for repurposing to source creation. And the golden white pink light of source creation, of that which created prime source creator God, mother, father God, all of us, all of everything. So arm in arm, hand in hand, we literally levitate above the planet. And as we do this, we decide to step outside our bodies and float above, right above the head, right above the crown chakra, where all of this energy, all of this wonderful frequency is constantly flowing to us, not away from us. And the only difference is that a lot of us aren't conscious of that because our frequency is too low to enjoy it. So we're compelled to call out to all of our brothers and sisters, the other source creations. And all of the light energy beings and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And only those who are of the highest, deepest, eternal love from the highest, deepest, eternal love and the highest and deepest gratitudes join us in this meditation that is now in the circle of light. They're in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, kindness, gentleness, generosity, humbleness. Bliss, joy, active peace, benevolence, tranquility. They come in the Guggenplexes. One Guggenplex will fill this universe. They come in the thousands, billions of googolplexes. Arm in arm, hand in hand, they join us in this now, in this circle of light, in this meditation. Their gods with our gods with theirs. They are of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest gratitudes. And we are of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest gratitudes. And we are all one, and we are all love, and our God light energy is absolutely everywhere. We call upon the inhabitants of Agartha, hollow earth, inner earth, beneath earth. All of these civilizations, there are many, and only those who are of the highest, deepest, eternal love, from the highest, deepest, eternal love, and the highest of deepest gratitudes can join us in this meditation, in this now, in this circle of light. They're in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, bliss, joy, active peace, tranquility, benevolence. And they come in the billions, arm in arm, hand in hand. They join us in this meditation, in this now, in this circle of light. Their gods with our gods with theirs. They are of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest gratitudes. We are of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest gratitudes, and we are all one, and we are all love, and our God light energy is absolutely everywhere. We call upon the galactics, the off-worlders, just to name a few: the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Andromedans, the Arcturians, and many, many, many more. And only those who are of the highest of deepest eternal love, from the highest of deepest eternal love, and the highest of deepest gratitudes can join us in this meditation, in this now, in this circle of light. They're in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind. Gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, active peace, joy, bliss, tranquility, benevolence. And they come, and they have been assisting us in our evolution, in our enlightenment, in our ascension, freeing ourselves from our own self-imposed bondage and our own self-imposed slavery. Arm in arm, hand in hand, they join us in this now, in this circle of light, in this meditation. Their gods with our gods with theirs. They are of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest gratitudes. We are of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest gratitudes. And we are all one, and we're all love, and our God light energy is absolutely everywhere. We call upon our loved ones, all of those who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes that we've inhabited. Only those who are of the highest, deepest, eternal love, from the highest, deepest, eternal love, and the highest of deepest gratitudes can join us in this meditation, in this now, in this circle of light. They're in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, kindness, gentleness, generosity, humbleness. Bliss, joy, active peace, benevolence, tranquility. And they come in the billions, arm in arm, hand in hand. They join us in this now, in this circle of light, in this meditation. Their gods with our gods with theirs. They are of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest gratitudes. We are of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest gratitudes. And we are all one. We're all love. Our God light energy is absolutely everywhere. we call upon all of the light energy beings who have decided to be housed in the following forms on and above and below this planet Earth, Gaia, in this now, in this meditation, in this circle of light. Only those who are of the highest, deepest, eternal love, from the highest, deepest, eternal love, and the highest of deepest gratitudes can join us in this now, in this circle of light, in this meditation. They're in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, bliss, joy, active peace, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, tranquility, and benevolence. And just to name a few, the fairies, the sprites, the elves, the dwarves, the gnomes, the trees, the elementals, earth, air, water, fire, the mermaid, the dolphin, the whale, the pegasus, the unicorn, the centaur, the minotaur, and many, many, many more. They come in the trillions. Shapes, sizes, colors, forms, configurations of which we've never seen before. Their gods with our gods with theirs. They are of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest gratitudes. We are of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest gratitudes. And we're all one. And we're all love. And our God-light energy is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And it floods and saturates the sacredness of space. It lifts the very fabric of creation. It eliminates, it excites, and levitates all frequencies into the highest of highest, deepest eternal love and gratitude frequencies. We look up and we see our meditative sphere. It's that center circle. We created this sphere. It houses all of our meditations in perpetual motion. Hundreds of them. They don't dissipate. They are literally intensified every second. And this sphere can be seen, heard, and felt in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. It floods creation. It is source. It is part of the one. You feel it as it floods your physical body, inside and out, head to toe. All of you, your God. It fills you with a lightness, a releasing, a self-forgiveness, a healing of all of the wounds that you've experienced in this life, a facing within yourself, an embracing, a healing, which empowers you to then be able to forgive others, which then empowers you even more, and then empowers them to do the same. After all, we are all one. And we all view each other, and we see different aspects of ourselves in others. So this flood, this saturation, this softness, this gentleness, this kindness, this deep eternal love and gratitude, this benevolence, this tranquility, saturates each and every one of us constantly. We become lighter the more we forgive of ourselves, the more gentle we are of ourselves, the more healing of the wounds that we have acquired in this life of ourselves, the lighter we become, the softer we become. As we have with ourselves, so shall it be with others. We look down upon this planet. Earth Gaia. We see all life, all of our brothers and sisters, all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And we watch as the flood and the saturation, excuse me, saturates everything that they are, inside and out, head and toe, lifts them. They begin to understand and start to embrace more and more of the love that they are. This love that they are begins to heal all aspects, all facets, all the injuries through this life. And the heart, mind, becomes so brilliant with golden white pink light that it literally beams its brilliance on themselves and all of us. You can see it as it vibrates and as it glitters, this golden white pink light of source creation, of the love of that which created all of us and all life. So we embrace self-forgiveness, and we flood all of our brothers and sisters to awaken to self-forgiveness. Heal, so that we may become lighter, and that our frequencies may soar higher. I'll join you in the meditation and return to close us out. hold into you, to yourself, and self-forgiveness and healing the wounds that we, all of us carry at one time or another, or throughout life that we inhabit. So the self-forgiveness is really important for each and every one of us. Heal all of the wounds that we have acquired, and then be able to heal anything from that point forward. And then also forgiving others. To take that with you the rest of the day, into the evening, night, the following morning. I will be posting on the weareonelightworld.net website a section on there of the prime law and the 12 visions. And these will be pictograms with some wording to make it much easier to assimilate for everybody. And those can be accessed. They'll be accessed, as soon as we get them posted up on the site in the next few days. We will be back here February 5th, 2020, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then also tomorrow night we will have a TFCC at 9 p.m. Eastern. Again, we're going to cover the real, from the 5D perspective. We're going to look at a lot of things from the 5D perspective. Start getting used to being in 5D.